I think that was probably too long. Anyways, hey everybody,
No, I
welcome
see.
back
No,
to the Wolf This YouTube channel. I'm Papa Wolf.
I'm Dick Engelmann, and welcome to our brains. What
Yeah,
are we talking about today, though, Brian?
we're gonna start the old sanctioned recap for our PDGA friends in the
Ooh,
Great Dis State. We miss doing this. It's fun to
I'm
talk
gonna roll my
about
sleeves up.
sanctioned stuff. It's fun to have somebody to talk about it with because nobody wants to listen to me for 12 to 14 minutes. We don't have parameters. We've done this before in different ways with other groups, and yeah, we're just going to talk about sanction stuff. So it's currently 216, which means we've had a couple events in the Great Dis State already in 2025. Let's just get right into them and talk about it. Little parameters here. Let's see how this goes. But the first event of the year, to my knowledge, at least PDGA's knowledge on the scene, we had 49 people. Thank you to them that played. Doug McIntosh ran the Monster Mash on January 4th. We had a lot of different divisions, a big AM3, a pretty decent AM2. Shout out to the AM1 that was close to 10 as well. In MPO, though, Austin Bates, who I believe is going to be hitting a few of them big tour starts off the year 1-for-1. Congrats to him with Gavin King, the young gun, in second, and Joseph Cruz and Nick Green tying for that third place cashola. Shout out to our man Chris in MA70. If you don't know Chris, you should go meet Chris someday, right, Richard?
Hey, he's got a sturdy handshake. Chris Niendorf,
Yeah,
we
great
see
eye
you.
contact. Yeah, great eye
We,
contact.
we see you out there. He gives you a firm, like, hey. And he's always a positive guy. Usually he's carrying Austin's bag, but
Exactly. Caddy
he's a bit of a
extraordinaire,
player himself, as you see here.
for
One
sure.
thing I see Christopher Bean in AM1 going with a 7 down, and I'm pretty sure usually Doug has AM1s playing the same as MPO, so he would have gotten third in pro. Is it time for Christopher Bean to flick
All
up
right,
to
it's the
MPO?
first. It's the first tournament of the year, Richard. Move on to the next tournament. Thanks, Doug. What's next, Richard?
Move up, baby. Next up, we have the Iceberg Open in Lansing, Michigan, directed by Brandon Fox and the S director, Emily Sealing. And so, you know, we had a good turnout with some of the amateurs, but not so many pros in this one. But shout out to our boy Dan Treese from the West Side, taking it down with a 1 under par.
Richard,
And
look at my screen. Richard, I won this tournament
in
many, many
M4, was
years.
that M4?
I
Flip it
don't
back
know.
up.
AM3, yeah,
M3.
many, many years ago. I'm still winning AM3 tournaments, baby. I'm still winning AM
Got to. No,
tournaments.
now we're on to M40s, and we'll do all right. All right, next up, though, you
We
got the
got
Willow.
Willow Wonderland, Doug McIntosh. I'm 2 for 2 on Doug. 30 people played that event. Was not an MPO or MP40, MPO 40 division. There was a 50. Shout out Martin Peters. You got made some cash. That's always fun. MA1, pretty good division. See Rad Sawyer playing again.
Yeah, my
That's
boy Evan McIntyre comes to my Detroit league. He took it down. He's a solid shooter. If he starts making his putts and he's consistent with those, he's really good. He can throw pretty far, but he's got a great short game. Good to see the Detroit boy take one down there.
it is nice to see people get out to the events early in the season as well. After the Willow Wonderland, what do we have, Dick?
Next up, we have the 2025 Parm Pigskin Preview, directed by Mark Cruz down in Bedford Township, right on the border next to Toledo there. Congratulations to the Logan Burrow, shooting a 23 down, and closely followed by Matt Clark and Mark Peters in the MPO side. Yeah, and once again, the MA1 couple shooters were right behind him, Julian Harmon and Rad Sawyer again. Is Rad just playing every weekend day that he can?
Well, that's a nice
This dude's all
parlay
over the place.
into the Battle of Hawthorne, which is run by Jeff Bauman. Thanks, Jeff. 13 players in that. That might not seem like a lot, but Dick and I ran an event that had six once, so that was twice as much as we had for that one. Rad did play MPO in this event. Brandon Redmond took it down, however. Looks like a good group in MA2 and MA3 as well. Probably was a fun day. Probably was a cold day if I remember. February 2nd had some weather that day.
Yeah, that was a cold one for sure. A little bit of snow, but what can you do? All right, what turn are we on now?
Well, if we're speaking of snow, we're speaking of our favorite up north tournament of the year, which neither one of us played this past week.
The frigid dough.
The Frigid Dough, hosted by TD extraordinaire and state coordinator Nacho, along with assistant tournament director and great handshaker Craig Klingling.
He does have a good handshake, but oh wow, look at Josh Taylor coming in hot.
That's okay. His rating's 998, but it's the middle of
Thought he
winter.
played
Let's
Masters.
let's go shoot over our rating. Shoot 1,007, I believe, with his rating or his event rating that day, and takes it down,
Yeah,
which had Delude in second, taking home some money. That's a fundraiser as well, so a lot of the money goes to the Ice Bowl. That's a long-standing event up there, being that it's its 16th time happening. But your man Rad played some MA1.
dude. How about 8 players in FA1?
Yep, Jacqueline
You don't
Delude
see that too often.
had a great battle with Macy. I saw on her social media they commended each other. That's a great time up there, great division. And then MA40, our division, a lot of shooters in there, including Jody in the second round, knocking a 44th down on Wildwood Shorts, which I'm going to look at that round rating. I bet
It's
you that's
nine
just
nine ninety two.
Yep, just under 1,000.
Yeah.
992. That's pretty good. Let's look to see where about a 800 would be, Richard. We'd be in about 10th or 11th, it looks like. So would have been a good
Looks like
event
it.
for us to play in. Dave
Nah.
Connors, Travis Lowe would have been fun to card up with, obviously.
Oh yeah, we're like middle of that pack there, about 880 or something, right? Yeah, we're good.
Yeah,
We're gonna do just
probably.
fine.
But that
We're gonna
mixed
do real good
amateur
out of the 40s.
60, that's the party division. There's 7 of them in that division. I bet you there's some
Wayne,
fireball in that group too. I'm not accusing or making any assumptions, but I just know some people in that group
I know
for
Wayne
sure.
Van Tynen can throw a couple beers back.
Well, he's a solid man, that's for sure. MA2 and MA3 and MA4 all had more than 10 in it. Thanks for playing. Let's keep her moving though. Moving on to the Grand Rapids Dogs of Disc winter games. Richard, do you know anything about playing in the winter? Because I don't like to anymore.
No, that's the thing. I only do it maybe once a winter, but I never actually knew what GRDOD stood for. So thanks, Dogs of Disc. All
Yeah, one of the
right,
oldest
and
clubs in the state of Michigan.
fair enough. I've heard of them, but never knew what it stood for. Tournament director there, Brandon Sorensen, and assisted by Justin Smith, and taken down with the mixed pro open, Miles Hansel.
Miles,
Hansel, so
I
hot right now.
believe he recently had a
Hansel,
birthday as well. So happy
yeah,
birthday to him, I believe.
nice work, Miles. And then going down MP50, Sancho Valdez takes it down,
Nice.
and then yeah, this
Good grouping of people. A lot of different
yeah,
divisions, a lot of different levels out there. Like to see that early. And you know that Brewer Park is got to be cold right now.
it's
It's too
so cold
cold.
there now.
It's too cold for me. But speaking of too cold, we had the Kent Lake Classic on your side of the state this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Almost went. I almost
well,
did it, but I don't know if you watched the weather this weekend. Not great.
wasn't for me.
Yeah.
I'll say that much. But Doug McIntosh stood out there. Was a TD for all the players. 33 on Saturday and 25 on Sunday. Looks like we had FA1, MA50, MA2, MA3, MA4 on Saturday with a good group in MA2, 13 plus playing in that. So that's pretty
Nice. Nick
good. And
Position. Yeah.
and then on
Nick Position
Sunday,
taking it down.
MPO and MA1. Rad is an MA1 again, stealing a W, looks like. Nice job. And then our maybe biggest MPO division of the year so far. We've got looks like a tie between
I have an answer.
Jason Saz and Nick Gill. Breaking news, because
Hmm.
this just happened mere hours
Yeah.
ago. What happened?
I just messaged Doug before we started, and while we were talking, he messaged me back, and Jason Saznowski took it down in the playoff, beating Nick Gill. So that's a big win for Jason there. Nick is no slouch. And congratulations to him, but also congrats to Nick Gill. Also a good tournament there. You guys both shot well this weekend. And
For
I cannot
sure.
imagine that was very fun out
Oh,
on those hills at Kensington. That's
with the ice,
rough.
with the cold. No
Yeah,
thanks today. Nick Green, volunteer extraordinaire. Nick Green, good man. He comes in third.
always good.
And then Nolan Johnson, Joseph Cruz, and the man, the myth, the legend,
Beans?
George St. Bino comes in fourth as well.
Did
That man,
you just make that up?
yeah, George St. Bino.
I never heard that one before.
I like it. We're gonna go with that. So that brings us up to date. So far in the Great Disc State, as Mark Stevens would say, for all of the sanctioned events going on, we should do a giveaway.
Oh wow. What are we giving away this time?
You want to do something fun? Something
You
we
got
haven't
a
done yet?
display ready?
Yeah, we haven't done this yet.
What do you got?
Believe, and these aren't released yet, even on our website yet. So
What?
I believe these are Color Glow Raptors, and this is a white one with a red stamp. And yeah,
It's dirty.
it is dirty. Maybe don't throw it right now in the snow. Maybe.
No, that's a bad winter disc.
Yep, maybe that's springtime disc. And yeah, so this one's easy, folks. All you got to do is comment the Michigan sanctioned event that you're looking forward to most this year. And maybe you're like sitting in California listening to this, watching this. You're like, well, I'm not going to play in Michigan, but you probably are going to watch coverage of D-Glow. So just put that down and we're going to count that answer.
Just say D-Glow, yeah.
Yeah. So if you don't know the right answer, just put D-Glow. And I definitely won't pick D-Glow, but go ahead and put it down for sure. Yeah. So we're going to come back in a couple weeks and do this again. We're going to maybe have more of a thought process to this, but probably not, right?
I don't think that's ever going to happen, but good luck trying.
Yeah. Honesty is the right policy. Honesty.
I like to go in. I like to go into these blind mostly. Just what's the difference between a bronze and silver event? I wrote down a note. What's the difference between that?
That's for a different video, but good job. Proud of you nonetheless. And you go to the MDGO website to learn more about featured events. Until next time, remember to like, subscribe, share, comment, do all the stuff that you're supposed to do on social. Thank you. All that. Goodbye.